Okay, so hello everyone, welcome to this session. We'll be talking about 5 tips to be a successful blogger. My name is, okay, come back to my video. Yeah, my name is Ulzen-Appiah. I'm the director of the Ghana Think Foundation, and I'm also a blogger, social entrepreneur, and a social media influencer. I've been blogging for a number of years now. I started my first blog in about, I think, 2005. At the time, I was running this blog as part of a website called Ghana Conscious, which we're running under Ghana Think. Yeah, at the time, you didn't have a lot of people who had like their own personal blogs. So you had a lot of blogs that were part of, websites. So if you had an account on the website, you have a place to blog as well. And during that period, I've always been very passionate about Ghana. So during that period, I started a blog that was, quite focused on Ghana. But around the same time in 2005, we started the Ghanaian music lyrics project, where we were trying to build a database of lyrics of Ghanaian music. So based on some of my interests at the time, I decided to start a blog that was focusing on Ghanaian music, the messages in Ghanaian music, and linking them to social issues. So I think I called it. I'll talk a little bit about it later. It was called Sounds on the Ground and Scenes. And then later on in 2008, I started my own blog, and my own, URL, but that's it's a blogspot.com URL. So a lot of you who are familiar with blogging will know that different websites also had blogging modules that you could use. Popular amongst them is WordPress. Later on, you had things like Tumblr that were more around social media blogging. I decided to use Google's platform Blogger. So my blog became mightyafrican.blogspot.com. At that point, I kind of changed my blog to focus on a bit more than Ghanaian music in society. So I called it mightyafrican.blogspot.com after a nickname that I had chosen. And much recently, probably about, I think, two years ago, I started a blog on medium.com, which has also become very popular for people blogging as well. It's a platform that I think a lot of you should check out. So you can have a Medium account that you use to share different ideas, and you can also get potentially paid for blogging there. Yeah. So so I'm gonna share my screen, and okay. Yeah, so we're talking about tips to be a successful blogger. I'll be focusing on 5, but different ones would also come up. About myself, I like to use social media a lot, so it's kind of think it's hashtag here. So we'll start with who is a blogger. A bit elementary. So basically, a blogger is someone who has a blog and talks about, shares information that is relevant to them and relevant to an audience through the blog. So normally people will say that a blogger is someone who has personal space on the web and uses this to share things of interest or matters of interest to a particular audience. So the blog would be, this personal space that we are talking about. One thing peculiar about blog is that the different posts or articles or blog posts, as they are called, uh, tend to be linked to each other, right? So technically, if you go to a blog, you have a lot of posts that are linked by times that they are posted, normally days. You don't have a lot of bloggers who post like more than once a day. So, these blog posts are linked, to days. So you can see, I think that's something that's very peculiar. So you can see which day and time each blog post was posted. And, it's normally linked to different things. So, a lot of the blog posts will be characterized by maybe within the month or the year that the blog post was posted. Blogs also tend to be characterized by categories and tags. That's something that's very peculiar to blogs as well. So each time you post a blog post, you can tag it with, maybe something like personal or technology, education, a country or a location, etc. Because it helps people figure out, what is happening, what is normally posted about, right? So the tags, give an idea of what the blogger tends to talk about, right? So like I said before, bloggers normally have, different matters of interest or different information that they want to share. And that's very peculiar. So sometimes you even have different types of bloggers, right? So you have people who blog, you even have poets, right? So some people's blogs are just about the poems that they've written and they post. You have entertainment bloggers, you have people who blog about finance, people who blog about law, people who blog about subjects. Sometimes you have people who blog about things like, music or, do movie reviews. So it all depends on the type of interest that the person has and the audience that they're also trying to reach. Okay. Okay, so before I get into these tips, I want to show you my blog. So yes, yeah. Okay, so when I first started my blog, I was calling it "Why So Serious." At that time, I was had been inspired by a couple of things. First, I'd watched the movie, I think, The Dark Knight, and "Why So Serious" was a major theme of the movie, and I just liked the statement. And at the same time, I wanted to talk about a lot of, serious issues. I mean, I'll be talking about a lot of serious issues on my Ghana Conscious blog around, Ghanaian music and society. And I wanted to have a bit of an entertaining or an unserious, little of an unserious way of talking about these issues. So the theme became "Why So Serious," and that's how I called it the first time. So my very first blog post here was about that as well. Okay, so wow, want to just talk about why I chose that. So yeah, I mean, every blog, one of the most important aspects of it is the search, right? You want people to be able to find. You want people to be able to find, what what is on your blog, based on different things that you might be talking about. So yeah, so here you can see the different blog posts that I've posted as well. Yeah, so let's see. Okay, so as you can see, in 2011, I posted this about welcome the Vim views and versions, and this was when I wanted to change the name of my blog. Okay, so first I had the first idea about why so serious, and then I started to talk about a lot of different things. Uh, so here, coming back. I have to normally leave to come back to the one I want to share. Okay, great. Yeah, so these are some of the things I talk about on my blog, right? So some of the different categories and tabs. I talk about technology. I have a lot of poems that I've posted here. I talk about music, movies, leadership, football, entrepreneurship, Africa at large. I have posts that are around Ghana and different African countries. I also have some about events that are coming up and personal posts. So, and then I also have my profile here. So, I mean, since this is like a bit of a personal space on the web, I put up my profile here so that people can also, learn more about me. So if people ask me about my profile, I normally direct them here to come and read about this. So one feature of a blog is also followers, right? So I mean, when Twitter was started, a lot of people were talking about Twitter as little social media blogging in a sense. So just the same way Twitter has different followers. So just the same way Twitter has followers, it came from the idea of bloggers also have followers, right? So normally, if you follow a blog, just showcasing some of the people who follow my blog. So normally, when you have followers of a blog, they are normally notified about each blog post that is posted, right? So when a blog post is posted, they get notified normally through their email. They can also subscribe to an RSS feed. So that's a way that it's just the same way you subscribe to different websites these days. It comes from the idea of also subscribing to an RSS feed. So the other interesting thing about a blog is that you can also have multiple people posting on the blog. So in my case, I have two different accounts that post on this blog. There is an account called Ato that is linked to my personal Gmail, which is Aboko, and then there's an account called Mighty African, which is linked to another Gmail account I have called Mighty African. So I started the blog with the Mighty African account, and later on I added the Ato account to also be able to blog from it. Yeah, so normally, I mean, these days I normally post with the Ato account, but in the past, based on what I'm posting, I would choose to post with, the Mighty African account. Maybe if it's more around, an African issue, and I'll post with the Ato account if it's more of a public post, because some of you would be familiar with the idea of pseudonyms. So that's kind of like a nickname that a lot of people use on the web. So Mighty African has always been a pseudonym for me. I've had a lot of different pseudonyms as well. When I was blogging with Ghana Conscious, my pseudonym was Aboko. I've posted some posts on like Ghana Web and other websites using a pseudonym Maximus Oja. I used to use a pseudonym called Clue. So sometimes if I wanted to, when I started my blog post, I didn't want people to know that it was me, as in Ato Ulzen-Appiah. So, I mean, my friends knew it was me, but a lot of people who did not know me very well were just thinking it was someone called Mighty African. But later on, I kind of grew out of that and started using my real name for public posts. Yeah, so you can have different people who are posting on your blog, and sometimes some blogs also have guest bloggers or guest contributors. In that sense, you normally have the blogger take a blog post, from someone else and post it on their blog instead of giving them an account to come and post. Sometimes they give them an account to come and post, and obviously, in that sense, as the blog is a website, you might not want to give them all the permissions and settings on the blog. Maybe we just want to restrict them to being able to post on the blog instead of making changes to maybe the design and how it looks, etc. So, I mean, the design for my blog is quite simple. I don't have any particular design. You can see the background. You can see the about statement. I just say that this blog is indescribable. I'll be thinking aloud on this blog, posting and sharing ideas, links, and other things of interest, right? So it's like I showed you the labels. The blog is not about everything, but it's about some particular things that I'm really interested in, and some particular things that I think I can also authoritatively talk about, right? So that's always very important as well. Okay, so I mean, I'll just show you a quick blog post. So one peculiar thing about blogs as well is when you're sharing blogs posts, there's always a lot of linking to other websites. I think that's one very interesting thing that you see in blogs as opposed to websites in general. So a lot of bloggers tend to, in their articles, tend to link to other blogs or other websites to give people an idea of what they are talking about. So this is a blog post I did around National Volunteer Day this year. And as you can see, almost, in the very first sentence, I linked to Ghana Think Foundation. I linked to National Volunteer. So that's a big feature of blogs. And then you have a few photos. I also embedded a video here. So for different people have different blogging styles, but it's important to always show some kind of media, right? Just the same way social media is big on, pictures and videos and things like that. For blogs, you also want to share some of these things to, catch attention of people. It also helps in design as well. So that's also one thing that is very important in blogging. Okay, yeah. So let's come back to the tips. So the first tip I want to talk about is being consistent with what you blog about, right? So being consistent with what you blog about. So for me, when I started the first blog around the music in society, my blog was purely about that, right? Because I wanted to build a certain audience. So I wanted to build an audience of people who were interested in Ghanaian music, especially hip life and high life, and also people who were interested in societal issues. So, for instance, some of the blog posts I did, I remember I did one blog post around one of our Brafos songs called Untitled which means be disciplined, right? So I basically picked the song. He talked a lot about discipline and what people needed to do. And I used that in different paragraphs, I talk about different parts of the song and link it to what people are doing, in society and why we need to follow through and be disciplined. So that's just one example. I also did a blog post about 16 years to talk more about, sexual relationships or sex with young ladies, because that's what Miss Bell was also singing about. I think you might remember the song. Some of you might know about it. I be 60 years. Would they be like this? So I also had another blog post that focused on Sydney. He used to be part of a group called Nananum. And he had a song called Sentinel. So you guys, some of you might remember Sentinel, Aji Bebia. Yeah, so I use that tongue to obviously talk about cleanliness and people being clean and smells and environmental issues and things like that. So so I was very consistent about that, and so normally um, after the song came out and had gained some kind of popularity, I would leverage that song to do the blog post, right? So the obviously the song would be trending in a sense, so you also want to pick songs that people are maybe familiar with. There are some songs that I blogged about that people were not, they were not too popular, but they allowed me to be able to post about the societal issue that I wanted to talk about, right? So in that sense, even the blog post helped popularize some of the songs that were not as popular. Okay, so yeah, so I posted a lot of things like this. I mean, Obrafo has always done a lot of songs that are like kind of like talk about societal issues. I had another blog post that talked about his song called Akun. Um, aka so Akon in this sense war, and he used this song to talk about a rap battle. So some of you who might know the song, he was doing a rap battle and kind of referring to a few hip life artists in not a so great way. But that's kind of like what rap battles are about. The wordplay and the lyricism was like just on point. If you're familiar with the Bravo songs, so I use that song to talk about political battles and how different political parties battle with each other and are always complaining, criticizing each other, and that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's so it's very important to be consistent with what you blog about, and pick these same labels and ideas to talk about, because it improves what you are doing. Because people kind of come to you for that kind of content, and that's what they are used to, right? And it also helps you become really good at doing that as well. Okay, great. Okay. So yeah, so that was more about the my first blog, Sounds on the Ground and Scenes on the Scenes. Then the next tip I want to talk about is leveraging relevant and timely topics. So just like in the first blog, I kind of picked on topics that were trending. Like there was a time that Sydney's song Abuskeleke came out, and I also blogged about that. And since then, I've always tried to leverage on relevant and timely topics as well. Even if obviously you're talking about an event, it should be something that is relevant, at the time when you're talking about it. So you want to be able to do that because sometimes people go online to Google about different topics and what is trending. So if your content is unique and very relevant and has some good views already, your blog post would also be found easily when people go to Google about this, right? So first, your followers would help build, your viewership, because they'll be informed about your blog post. They'll come and read it. They'll share it with others. So even before social media, people would share it, in email, etc. But now most people use social media, Twitter, Facebook, etc. to do these things. So as you do these things, as have very relevant posts, you are able to get more people to come to read your blog posts. So the third tip I want to talk about is having an engaging or an entertaining writing style, right? So many people go to websites to read news and get information. Okay, so they have popular websites that they might go to. So for your own blog, that might not have a lot of users and people coming to always. And then we've also talked about how often you blog, right? I have a friend of mine, Amwafua, popularly called Mamsi, who blogs almost every day. She writes poems almost every day and blogs almost every day, right? Most people cannot really do that. So you want to have an engaging style that makes people want to come back for more, right? So I personally like to read entertaining pieces, right? That are not like pages from a newspaper or a textbook. So when I'm also writing my blog posts, I try to make them more entertaining as much as possible, right? So a lot of the ways I'll do that is sometimes I'll make references in the blog post to the person who is reading. Like I'll ask them a question, right? Make it very conversational in a sense, and try to crack some jokes or do some wordplay, something very interesting, right? So you want to have a very entertaining or engaging writing style in your blog post that makes people follow you for it. So I talked about I like to share posts around personal stories because I tend to live a bit of an interesting life. I like to, take risks sometimes and see what would happen. So there's one time that I had my wallet and my phone pickpocketed. So it was stolen from me. I remember this was March 6, 2013. I had gone to Chris Brown concert at the Accra Sports Stadium. But within a week, I had the contents of my wallet and my phone. I got them back, right? So I had it stolen from me in a place where there were so many people. I had no idea who took it, but I was able to get it back within a week, right? So that was a very interesting thing that happened to me, and I blogged about it. So I actually called it Retrieving Pickpocketed Items in Accra, Ghana. I actually did a 5-part series about this blog, about what happened. I'll show you very quickly. So I did a 5-part series about what had happened within the week, from losing my wallet and my phone and getting it back. So I didn't get the actual phone back, but I got the actual wallet back, and the person who had stolen it, I was able to, through the police, get them to buy me a new phone. So I did a blog post about it. I did it in 5 parts, and as I was doing this blog post, at the time, I was sharing it on social media, Twitter and Facebook, and some of the people who followed me were posting about the blog post for others to get to know about it so they could read it, because they were very interested in it. It was very entertaining for them. Some of them were saying that I should make it into a movie, etc. So these are just a few Twitter posts that people posted about it. So here Irene was saying that, are you going to send some red, gold, green smoke when part 2 is done after I shared part 1, right? And the interesting thing here about the red, gold, green smoke is that, my followers knew that I'm very, very passionate about Ghana. So the red, gold, green is referencing the Ghana flag, right? So people were asking, when are the next parts coming out? So I did a blog post to summarize the different parts of the series, also leveraging some of the tweets that people had done about it, right? So that is that kind of brings me to one of the other tips around posting easily. Okay. So we have so I've talked about the engaging and writing style, and then, building a flowing on your blog and engaging them, and then media and tools around you. So, I mean, I think when I started, blogging on Mighty African, I used to blog maybe twice a month, probably, twice or thrice a month. And normally blogging is really around inspiration, right? Things normally happen and then it drives people to go and blog. Obviously, there are cases whereby if I realize that I hadn't blogged in a while, I'll go and do an easy blog post. And easy blog posts for me were maybe picking a poem that I'd written in the past and then blogging about it, right? So you want to be able to keep on, engaging people who follow your blog, and continue to give them content, right? And obviously, I kind of like expanded the things that I was blogging about. so focusing on technology, focusing on movies. I started doing a lot of movie reviews because I had a lot of interest in really good African movies. The kind of African movies that win awards internationally, not just any popular African movie, maybe from Ghana or from Nigeria, etc. So I used to do a lot of movie reviews, and it actually even gave me the opportunity to start engaging some, very popular African movie directors like Leila Jansi as well, because they liked some of the work that I was doing with the reviews. So I also started posting about a lot about sports. I'm a very big fan of football. I like Manchester United a lot. So I've done some blog posts about Manchester United. And the Black Stars. I've done several. Used to do a lot of posts about the Black Stars as well. Just given my passion for Ghana. I've also done a lot of posts around basketball and music. So even though I started focusing on the Mighty African blog, I continue to do posts around music. So I expanded from doing the songs around society to also doing posts like maybe 10 African songs for a wedding, or maybe 9 favorite gospel songs from Ghana, or 9 favorite songs from Kenya, 9 favorite songs from South Africa. So I started to do a lot of different posts, and also I was kind of building a bit of a brand for myself with the Mighty African idea, whereby I was becoming very, very Pan-African. So I wanted to learn a lot about what was happening in different African countries, and sharing information around that, even though I'm not been to these African countries. So for instance, I started to do a lot of lists. So I'll show you an example. I started to do a lot of African related posts. So let's look at this one. Okay, let's come back here. Yeah, so this is a post about learned to say I am hungry and food in 23 African languages. So 23 is a very favorite number of mine for a couple of reasons. First, a lot of you know that Ghana's country code is 233 plus 223. And, if you divide 233 by 10, it's like around 23. So it's difficult to find a number of 233 things. But 23 is a bit easier to count. So I started doing this list called Learned to Say I'm Hungry and Food in 23 African Languages. And I actually started with thank you. So how can you say thank you in Akan, as in Chi or Fanti, Ga, Ewe, Kosa, which is a language from South Africa, Shona from Zimbabwe, Amharic from Ethiopia, Bambara from Mali. You have San from Burkina Faso. So I started doing this list where I'll talk about how to say thank you or I'm hungry in these different African languages, right? So you see number 1 up to number 23. And then I'd also refer to how I learned how to say these things. So here for number 2, for the Ga one, Homoyemi, I was taught this by Na Oyokote, who is a very popular blogger in Ghana. A lot of you might know her. For Dagbani, I was taught that by Jamila Abdullahi, who's also a very popular blogger in Ghana. And everyone was taught to me by my friend called Seram Ahiabo. He's a good friend of mine. We've worked on Ghana, I think, together for a number of years now. And then I learned these things from different friends from Africa as well, right? So even for something for Kenya, Rwanda, when I did this blog post, I'd never been to Rwanda, but I learned it from a friend who was from Rwanda. Since then, I have been to Rwanda and some of these other countries. So I have a lot of posts like this that are Africa, specific. So I also did so many other posts. So I had a lot of posts about Nelson Mandela. When he passed away, Nelson Mandela is someone who I took a lot of inspiration from. So I did some posts around him. So you can see there are 2 posts back to back about Nelson Mandela. I just want to show you some other contents around Africa as well. Yeah, so these are some of the things that I've been posting. And one of the things that I'm very, very interested in is my diary, right? So different people have diaries that they keep, and a lot of bloggers post a lot of diary type material. So I would normally, if something very interesting, I think something very interesting happens in my life, I would come and, kind of blog about it. As you can see, I don't blog as much recently. So the last diary post or post that I consider to be diary is 2014. Yeah. So, so there was a time that, I was at ShopRite and, something really struck me about made in Ghana goods that are sold in shops like ShopRite. So I did a few posts about it. There was that, I've always had, obviously, most of us have to deal with mechanics in different ways because of our cars getting issues. So there was a time that, I helped someone fix their car. So I talked about how the mighty African became a mechanic, and this is one of my favorite posts of all time. So I once traveled to Northern Ireland and I almost missed a flight from Belfast in Northern Ireland to London, and but I was able to make the flight. So how I made the flight, I thought it was very interesting. So I blogged about that as well. These days we talk a lot about race, and when I went to Belfast, I hardly saw a lot of black people. And I was like, where are all the black people? Where are all the black people? And then one time I went to a club, I think the night before I was about to travel or leave Northern Ireland, and I finally found young and black people. So I blogged about that. So I tend to blog a lot about different things that are happening in my life that are interesting. Um, yeah, so I blogged about, I'm a big fan of Indomie, etc. So yeah, so you want to, so this is a great way to kind of like engage people. These diary posts were very popular. So I always want to be able to share more diary posts like that, right? Okay. So yeah, so I think the last part, the last tip is around Twitter and using media around you. So I just want to pick a good example to talk about this. Yeah, so there's one time that I think I was trending on Twitter. I might have been trending on Twitter on my birthday, so I thought that was really interesting. So also when really interesting things or happen in your life that you want to document or share with others, or even achievements, people also tend to blog about that. Let me pick a good one here. The Twitter thing. Okay, pick for personal. Yeah, so actually, this is another good post to talk about. So some of the posts, actually, a lot of my more recent posts, since maybe about 2015, have had to do with things that have come up around me. So there's a time that one of the Ghana Thing members, Mohammed Jawad from the Barkham Tamale team, was asking me a lot of questions about, how I'm able to spend a lot of time on social media and social communication tools like WhatsApp and still be very productive and work on all the other things that I work on. This has come up a lot, in questions to me. So when he asked it to me, after a lot of people had asked, I decided to do a blog post to answer some of the questions that he had. So what I did was I asked him, what questions does he want to have answers to? So he shared all these questions, Q1, Q2, etc. And then I answered them, and then I used this for a blog post, right? So so that's also been a very easy way to generate blog posts because people are talking about this, people are interested in this kind of material, and then it's good to document it here, right? I've also done a lot of posts recently around professional things. So, for instance, and just this week, it also came up a lot talking about CVs and certificates because it's something that people have been talking about, around Ghana. So in 2018, when we had our job camps, so these are job camps, events that we did around solving unemployment. We as Ghana Think did with Star Ghana. After we were done with those, I did some posts about CVs and resumes, and also did some posts about certificates. Right. So I kind of like picked what people had been talking about to do some of these blog posts as well. Yeah. So I mean, as I grew in my blogging journey and became popular, I've been nominated for like different the Ghana Blogging and Social Media Awards that is normally organized by Blogging Ghana. So I've been nominated as Blogger of the Year a couple of times, even though I haven't won. And I've also been nominated as top Twitter user and top Google Plus user. The Google Plus user I've won in the past. But I've also been able to kind of like leverage my blogging to also be a bit popular in the African blogging space. So I was also invited to a festival of African bloggers and YouTubers. So some of you might know that as opposed to some people also do photo blogs where they blog just based on the pictures that they take and post, and vlogs where they do videos about different subjects and also post on YouTube and other parts. So so based on kind of like my popularity in blogging, I've been able to become a social media influencer, and I've done a lot of paid blogs. So I've worked a lot with Nokia, as you can see here. So Nokia has through agencies has paid me to blog about some of their products in the past as well. So as you grow your blog and you become very popular as an influencer, different brands reach out to you, and especially if you're focusing on different topics, like for me, dealing with technology and youth, dealing with music and movies. You can get people in those areas or those sectors or disciplines or industries to engage you to blog about particular things as well, right? Yeah. So I mean, so more recently, I've not been blogging as much recently, but one thing that hasn't changed is my passion for Ghana. So one of my so when Ghana was 60 years, I did this post about Ghana 60 years on. This was a popular hashtag that was being used to drive our 60th birthday. So that's also the post that I have pinned. So this the same way you pin post to your Facebook page or Facebook profile or Twitter account, you can also pin blog posts. So the blog post that I've pinned is what I wrote about Ghana, not too long ago. Given what my thoughts were around us being 60. So as you can see here, I leveraged Twitter posts. So this is a Twitter post that I did around that time with a lot of likes and retweets. So I leveraged these Twitter posts during this period in 2017. One friend, Gamel Sankal, who has mentored at Barkham Kumasi and is an author, he collected some thoughts from people like me, young Ghanaians who have achieved some level of success in what they've chosen to do. So we sent different thoughts on Ghana at 60 to him, and then he published an ebook. So I tweeted about that and added it to the blog. And so this is this is one way to really leverage Twitter tweets, right? So even when it got to a point and I realized that it was difficult for me to always come and blog all the time, some of the things that I'll do is that I will start tweeting about something. I'll see if I can get a good example to show. So I'll start tweeting about something knowing that I am going to blog about it later, right? And then later on, when I get more time, I'll come and pick those tweets and then So I think a lot of the diary posts will probably cover this. Let me go to diary. So I'll come and pick those tweets and then put it in the blog post, and then use it for the blog post. So let me check this one out. Yeah, so this is a good example. So I actually posted this on the same day, but a little later. So so on June 7th, 2014, I was at ShopRite, thinking of what are the products that are made in Ghana or produced in Ghana, right? So there's Ideal, there's like some kind of sugar, there's some kind of honey. A lot of the products that were made in Ghana that were sold in ShopRite were food-related products. So even this was interesting for me. So there's Mama's Choice Fufu Mix. So even though it's something very popular for people in Ghana, it is made in the US. Because when people started making these neat fufu and fufu mixes, they were mostly selling them abroad because people in Ghana were like, why are we going to buy this fufu mix, when we make fufu a certain way? But people in the diaspora don't have the time to be pounding fufu all the time. And, if they pound fufu a lot, they might disturb their neighbors. So they use neat fufu mix. So it came from the diaspora. It was popularized in the diaspora before it was popularized in Ghana, right? So here I'm just using tweets to do this blog post, as you can see. So that also became very easy, to help me continue to blog very consistently. Yeah. So yeah, so I was hoping that we could. Great. So I actually want to take some questions. I should have even done this earlier because I like to take Q&A. I like to answer a lot of questions when I'm doing presentations and sessions like this. So I see a few people in the chat window. I see Benjamin Adadevo, a good friend of mine. He runs Barcamp Tema, and he's also one of the leaders of Blogging Ghana currently. I see Princess Indom. I see Emmanuel Ewuku, Stephen Mauto. Do you guys have any questions? Please drop any questions in the chat window so I can answer them as we end this session. Yeah. So so let me just just to recap the blogging tips as we get into questions. So the first tip, obviously, is be consistent with what you blog about, right? Choose some topics that you know very well, can talk very authoritatively about or are interested in, and blog about those. So these can be, different sectors or industries or types of things. Also, leverage relevant and timely topics, right? So look at what is trending, try to blog about that because people will be talking about it. So this could be something that is popular in the news. This would be something that is popular amongst your friends, as a discussion, because a lot of blogs or bloggers, your following is what is really important, right? And sometimes your first following are your friends. And then you go to a point where a lot of people are following your blog who don't even really know you or have not even met you before. I know some bloggers, especially like Jamila Abdullahi, have done things where they've done events where people who follow their blog can come and meet them, right? Yeah, but leverage timely topics in your blog. Have an engaging and entertaining writing style, so you want to be able to blog in a way that is a bit unique and different, and people love you for that, right? So as people love you for that and you build this niche, they would also, because they really like the way you do things and you're unique, they would also be trying to get people to like what they like as well. Okay, so also build a following and engage them. So so in addition to kind of like asking people questions in the blog post to kind of like get their attention, it's important to also engage them in the comment section, right? So if they come and post a comment, come and reply to their comments, say something to them, try and drive some conversation, because if you drive that conversation, they keep on coming to your blog to read the comments, and as they spend more time on your blog, they might want to go and read other blog posts as well, right? And I also once wrote a blog post. So I talked about the one where I was changing the name of my blog. And I even wrote a blog post showing others talking about my blog post. I'll show you that very briefly. And then also, like I said, leverage media and tools around you. If there's a YouTube video about you, you can come and blog about that YouTube video or that YouTube video that features you and talk about, from your perspective, what was happening, right? So that's another easy way to also get a blog post done. Great. So there's one question here. So people say most Ghanaians spend less time reading and more time watching videos. How do you rate vlogs versus blogs in the Ghanaian space? Okay, great. So currently you have a lot of because people in general, and this is not just Ghanaians, okay, people in general like to watch videos. So you have a lot of vlogs that are very popular. So some people post videos and those videos get a lot of views, a lot more views than a blog post. That's just where we are now, right? But I don't think vlogs are for everyone, right? I mean, to be able to do a really good vlog, you have to have a certain style that people like. You have to have certain material. It's much easier to do a blog than a vlog if you try to sometimes do some of these things. So yeah, I mean if it's great to do vlogs. And what would you say who do you say your audience range, and where would you place blog posts in? So I mean, I'll say they are different, right? I think so even sometimes people who do vlogs, they might have a blog where they post about their different vlogs as just a channel for people to get to go to their videos, right? Or maybe on their blog, they're talking a little bit more about the certain video that they posted. Okay, so I mean, you have people who have both. You have some who have just a blog like me, and some people who have vlogs alone. So I know, like, a friend of mine called Stella Chanelli. She has a popular vlog, and she's mostly just on YouTube. There's also Rexford in Cancer, who does a lot of drone shots. He also mostly has a vlog as well, but he also has a blog. So he has a blog where he talks a lot about a lot of technical things, so like IT related blog posts. And he also has a vlog where he shares drone shots around, like different places of interest that he visits, etc., etc. So it could be one or the other. But yes, clearly, due to where we are now and a lot of people, popularity of YouTube and people watching videos, vloggers tend to get a lot more views than blogs, and as more than photo blogs as well. Thank you for your question, Yvonne. Yeah. So I want to share this. So 2013 was a very interesting year for me. At the beginning of the year, I set a goal to do 233 blog posts. If you were listening from the beginning, you know why I chose this number. This is Ghana's country code and Ghana's number. So for the 233rd blog post of 2013, which means that I was doing an average of, 10 blog posts in a month. Yeah, I mean, it was a goal I set, so I really tried to meet it, right? Yeah, so I basically picked Twitter posts that people had done about my blogs. So here, Jennifer, I did a blog post about some experiences in Lagos, and my friend from Lagos came to post about it. You also had some people post about the pickpocket story. So when I won at the social media awards, Prince blogged about that. I went to the Lord's Armed Christian Home with Nehemiah Atiga, who's also part of Blogging Ghana and Ghana Think, to do some donations, and he posted about it on Twitter. So I referenced this in this post, and then, so Cecil, my namesake, I posted about a Burkinabe day I had in Ghana. So there was a weekend where I met some Burkinabes, and it was very interesting. So Cecil tweeted about that. I normally tweet a lot about the things that I do or work on, like Barkham Ghana. So I did a blog post about that, and Barkham Ghana also posted about it. Yeah, so when I left Google, I did posts around that as well. And my friend from Tanzania also, mentioned it. So Kaiser, who used to lead Blogging Ghana for a long time, also tweeted about a TEDx Osu event that I spoke at. and I summarized. So these are some other blog posts that I've also done in the past. To kind of like get content. Yeah, so these are different types of things I've blogged about. I spoke about PSEC, and someone who really inspired me when I went to PSEC, Atamusa, tweeted about it because I was posting about his alma mater. Edward Tego, who was very active, one of our leaders in Ghana, I think, and a leader in blogging Ghana, also tweeted something. And then, so I did this blog post about 11 young female African tech leaders to know about. I wanted to feature some people that I knew women who were doing great things in STEM. I called it Vim Tech List. So it's a hashtag I came up with. I've not really followed through with this over the years, but one of the people who was featured, Ethel from Zambia, also tweeted about it. And then one of our junior camp projects, Ghana, I think, tweeted about. And Archie was very interested in my post about how to save money in 23 African languages. So one interesting thing here is he posted it, wanting, because we featured how to save money in Kinyarwanda, which is the main Rwandan language. So he wanted people in Rwanda or people who are interested in Rwanda to also know about this. So I'm still taking more questions as we end. Thank you, Yvonne, for your question. So so I did a lot of different types of posts. I posted about Kobla Nyomi, who I used to work with at Rankard. He came up with this Owari 3D app where you could play Owari on your phone. It was a very, very, very popular app when he eventually launched it in Ghana, getting so many downloads. So I blogged about him because I wanted to feature a young Ghanaian who was doing something great. I talked about things that have happened in the tech scene in 2013 because I'm very passionate about technology in Ghana as well. And then we went to the TFM December to Remember concert with Sarah and some members of, we had this thing called Party Crew GH. So I blogged about, going, I like partying a lot. I've blogged a lot about partying. I actually blogged one time about going to a club and seeing a lady I wanted to talk to, and then the lady disappeared. So I blogged about that. And then probably one of my favorite posts that year that Kafui, Dominic Barkamsinyani lead referred to, he also blogs. So how I had a bigger pot belly before, and I lost the weight. So I also blogged about that, and that was very interesting for Dominic. So he shared that on Twitter. Yeah. So that's about it from me. I hope you've learned a lot from my blogging journey and the tips, and hopefully you have a lot of different types of inspiration to be able to consistently blog. Okay. So I think you want to get to the point where it is easy for you to blog and not too much of a chore, right? So I'm just going to show the tips again as we end. Yep. So thank you. So you can connect with me on social media. I'm on Twitter at Aboko. I'm also on Twitter at Mighty African. You can also email me as well. Okay. So so again, the tips are here, and wish you the best in sharing content so that more people can get to know about all the different things that are important. And we need to share our stories. That's one key thing about blogging. We want people to share different stories, and especially share success stories of what is going on so that people can get more information. So thank you so much for your time and for joining my session, and I look to connect with you later. Okay, thank you. So I think I'll end with how to say thank you in 23 African languages. So that's one of my most popular blog posts. A lot of people like this particular blog post, and I've been sharing it, etc., etc. So I think I'll leave you all with that. And yeah, so thank you so much. So medase, iwaladon akpe tipagida nagode asante nyabonga eshe dalu webale rakoze fobaka lonlo impuya inkosi ke aleboha amesegnalehu zikomo melesi jejef katenda iniche and abura. Thank you.